You can see up there Barry Graubart, Teri Mendelsohn, and Michael, Robin Neidorf, and Marc Strohlein are going to be our professors for boot camp today. So with that, I'm going to introduce Ann Michael to begin boot camp. Welcome in.
Like Charlene, I have an aversion to podiums. Do I have a clicker or something here? Yep. Okay. So I took some notes while she was talking, so hopefully we'll tie this together. Okay, so bear with me. Nope, wrong way. Okay. So today we're going to go through a number of things, and starting with, we're going to go through content platforms, business strategy, and mobile strategy. Some of the things that Charlene was saying in relation to a social strategy and where that fits into the business. You're going to hear Marc Strohlein talk a little bit about the whole point of having an overarching strategy and understanding where different things fit in. After business strategy and user experience, which Marc will also speak to, we're going to get into mobile strategy with Barry Graubart, including monetization and some metrics and analytical techniques. And then Robin Neidorf is going to come up and tell us about the enterprise market for mobile content and a study that Pint did and about some changes that have occurred even year on year pretty quickly in that space. And then finally, when we talk about the strategy and some of the setup things, we're going to spend the rest of the time we have together talking about how this impacts an organization in several different ways. And Teri Mendelsohn will be doing that. So we also have a few resources for you. So you'll notice there's a glossary in the list of handouts, and you'll see there's some checklists, things that you could look at, because I know that we all have the best intention. We talked about this, of going back to the slides, and we actually don't, or we do very rarely. So hopefully these handouts will help you to get even more value out of what we're doing today. And then, you know, our goal here is to help you realize just what these different tools that are available and how they fit together. And as Kathy mentioned, you know, I don't know if we're going to consider ourselves professors. We would more like to think of ourselves as conversation facilitators. This is a wonderful size room to get a lot of participation, and there are a lot of different perspectives in the room. So we certainly don't think that any one of the speakers and the perspective that they offer is the only perspective. So we're hoping to get interaction and to get conversation, because that's the way that we'll direct the day toward what you're really going to get some value from. Oops, I went the wrong way again. It's the one on the left, guys, when you get up here. So to start things off, we want to start with a little context on platforms. So what the SIIA and we all hope is that VIA is going to be the first of many content VIA platforms conferences. And even though this year we're going to talk a lot about mobile, we want to start more broadly. So both myself and Marc, when he's talking business strategy and user experience, we're going to talk broadly before we zero in on mobile. And so we're going real wide here. So when I say broadly, we're first going to talk about, you know, what do we even think is content? So for the purpose of what we're talking about here, it's a very broad net: data, text, images, multimedia, you know, anything that you assemble, aggregate, or supply to your customer directly or indirectly, including executable applications, potentially is within the realm of what we want to talk about. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that Charlene was talking about a content strategy in the context of Red Bull and some of these other companies, and those content strategies, those web content strategies in particular, may be a part of the things that people in this room do, but many of you produce or aggregate content for professional audiences or other places, and that kind of content is a small part of what your content strategy is. It's an important part, but it's only one part. And so I think that it would be helpful if, when we're going through the day too, that you all interject where you feel what we're doing is relevant or not relevant to what you do, so that we can continue to make this relevant. What do we think about as a platform? Again, in the broadest sense, and Peter, you might recognize this definition because I stole it from you. A cohesive and consistent set of capabilities that can be applied in a systematic way to content to achieve a purpose. So we're starting very broad. A platform isn't necessarily only a technology. It's the process, the people, even potentially the business model that's around that. Going in a little bit more specifically, let's talk about a technology platform, because a lot of the word platform we're going to use today is specifically about technology platforms. So this is where we start to get into a set of APIs, commercial agreements, onto which third parties can create applications. And by the way, platforms can contain other platforms, and I'm going to let Barry tell you all about that later. So we're going to move on. And again, sometimes I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. So when we think about where we are, if you kind of look at the left of this, you have a business strategy. It's leading into a user experience framework and a content strategy, which actually isn't listed there. And then you start to get through all the platforms that help you deliver on your goals. And those platforms can be user-facing, so front end. We could be talking about online, mobile, software apps, even print, although that's not our focus. Or it could be back end, so how you create and aggregate content prior to delivering it, how you manage content, how you might even enrich content. The whole, there are platforms completely around taxonomy management, metadata management, and semantics. So the platform is pretty broad. Oops. Oh, I forgot my questions were here. This is so exciting. So do you all have your app? Did you download the app? So you're going to have to help me through this, Kathy. How do we see the results?
You get to ask the question.
Okay.
Go to the app, and then when you click next, the results appear.
Okay. Oh, this is fun. All right. And I have to click the right button. Left. So do you have back-end platforms for content management, creation, or enrichment in your organization right now? Yes, no, or you're getting them. So could somebody come up and sing a song? Barbara, how? So I'm new at this. What's the appropriate amount of time? Is everybody done? 4? Come on, people. Wait, where's the 4? Oh, 5? Okay, is it that little number right here? Wow, that's tiny. 6. All right. Okay, well, I expect the next one's going to be a little bit faster than this. Let's give him a second. Let's at least get till 10, okay? So you're under the gun, people. Let's get 3 more. 7. Barry, did you vote?
I'm just getting my session ID in.
9. 1 more and you're done. What's the session ID? All right, we're at 10. Did someone say they want me to? Is 10 okay? You all be ready for the next one? Okay, so. Oh, 2 more stuck in. I hit next. Oh. So, okay, well, that's actually really good to know. We wanted to have a fill-in-the-blank question to find out exactly what they were, but we might have to do that by the old-fashioned kind of polling and just asking you to shout things out. I'll see when I get to that slide what Jenny did with it. So, do you use your back-end platforms to deliver content to customer-facing systems? And what we're trying to get at here is just understanding how you work and how you're pushing content through your organization. We have 8 already? You guys got so much better. That's great. We're up to 12. Oh, 14. Look at it go. This is a lot of fun. That number should be bigger. It would be motivational. All right, 16. Are we still, everybody, pens down, or are we okay? Okay. All right. Okay, that's actually really interesting to me. So you are using, I can't ask one that isn't up there. Okay, never mind. I think we have one more. Okay, so a large percentage of you are using your back-end systems to deliver content to customer-facing. All right, you know what? Just put the thingies down for a second. Raise your hand if you're doing this to online only, that you're delivering content. Okay, online and print. Okay, how many of you are doing this for mobile? Okay, these are back-end systems. We got a few. Okay, interesting. All right. Oh, you did the fill-in? Where is she? You did it? Okay, so old-fashioned is what? Oh, okay. I forgot so fast. All right. Okay, so do you have a question? Okay. Okay, great. All right. So what we were just talking about was back-end systems. So for example, if we were to think of examples of back-end like work in process systems, you could be using Alfresco to manage content. You could be using Documentum to manage content. You could be using, there's RSuite, there's Zyvision products, so to manage for enrichment, or you could be, we're specifically talking about delivery, but a lot of those platforms are platforms that are designed with the concept that you create content, you go through some transformation. A lot of them have XML running through them. You transform that content and, in essence, assemble and package it to go to a website, to go to a mobile device, to go to a PDF, to send to a printer even. They could go in lots of different directions. So thank you. So with that in mind, why don't we shout out a few names? What kind of content management environments are you using? Anybody? Okay, so you built your own workflow, the whole shebang? Okay, and how many people have proprietary systems? Oh boy! Wow, put them back up a second. No, it's great. It's actually, all right, so that's very, very interesting. All right, and so how many of you have a commercial off-the-shelf kind of a system? You may have customized it, but you have the basis as a commercial off-the-shelf core. Anybody? We have 1.5. Were you just waving, or was that, no? Is that Okay. All right, no, this is good to know. So let's keep going. So the reason I was asking is because even though we're going to get to this front end piece, so what we're going to focus in on today, when Barry comes up later, is he's going to start talking, and even in the context of business strategy and of content strategy and user experience, Marc is also going to talk a lot about front end. But I just don't want to lose sight of the fact that, a lot of us, and it seems a lot of us have a proprietary back-end system that sometimes has to coexist, that somehow we have to figure out, is this going to work, is it not going to work, how is it going to support our content strategy, and then specifically with Barry, our mobile content strategy. So I believe that with that as just a little bit of introduction, and with the reminder, we have 3 more questions. I forgot about these. I really should have gone through these before. Well, this is kind of a lead into Marc. So Marc's going to come up and talk about business strategy. So to kind of get things going for him, does your organization have a clear business strategy, and do your product development efforts support your strategy? So a bit like what Charlene was talking about before. Do you have that overarching thing and you know kind of where things fit in? 5, look at you guys, 8. I hope you have polling questions because I've totally warmed them up for you. They're like experts now. Okay, when we hit 16, then we can go. Oh no, 18, look at them. 2 more people downloaded the app. Okay, so I hit it. Oh, shoot. Can I go back? Darn, you can't go back? Okay. All right. So good. That's great. 58%. And actually, I also think that we won't talk about you 5% right now. But the 37%, that's really interesting too. The idea that, that was you.
I answered yes to question to the first half of the question, but no to the second half.
You answered twice? What is this, Chicago? Okay. Okay, we will take that as an advisement for next year, that we will be careful to have a singular point in our questions. So, okay, you have one. How familiar is your organization with the needs of your target audiences? Very familiar, adequately familiar, or couldn't pick them out of a lineup? Oh, 18. 19. We might get into the 20s. Come on. All right, there we go. All right, 1 click and wait. That's the hard part for me, is the wait part. Okay. Adequately. Well, that's very interesting. So we have 30% of the people in this room are confident that they're very familiar. 50% of the room aren't really sure how familiar they are, that it looks like it's good enough. And 20%, and thank you for the 20% for being honest, aren't familiar. And I think that's another thing that Marc's going to talk a bit about too, because we often get into these technology platforms and we start thinking about all these great things we want to do, and sometimes we kind of run right past the basics. Someone says build this app and no one's sitting there saying, well, how does it fit in with what we want to do? And then I believe there's one more. Okay. Does your company have a content strategy? Yes or no? This is the last question, I promise. And Kathy can be very happy with me because she wanted to use the polling software. All right, 11, 13, look at them go. 21. Oh, we have a new record. 22. That's it. Barry, get away from that thing. Okay, 23. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. I hit it. Now I have to wait. I don't know. I'm going to hit it again. I hope we don't. Okay, very good. 65%. See, you're almost done, Marc.
Why am I here?
So anyway, with that, with all these people that have a business strategy and all these people that are knowing their customer and these people that have a content strategy, you should have great questions and a lot of interaction for Marc. So without further ado.